Today we're reviewing Mega Shine Set B2B with some of the best new additions to Pokemon Pocket, starting with Mega Scizor EX. A Stage 1 200 HP metal Pokemon with one move. Bullet Slugger, which deals 100 plus damage and costs 2 metal energy and 1 colorless. And this move says that if this Pokemon is moved from your bench to the active spot this turn, this attack does 50 more damage. Now, being at a 2 retreat cost, by itself, it's not that great, but when do they ever give us cards by themselves? Introducing another new card, Reveroom, which is also a Stage 1. It has a solid HP of 110, but the reason we want to include a Reveroom in every single Mega Scizor deck is probably due to its ability, Metal Transport. Once during your turn, you may switch your active Metal Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon, which helps you activate Mega Scizor EX's Bullet Slugger effect, so you can hit for 150. Now you can use Reveroom to swap out between 2 Mega Scizors, or you can swap into something like a Fossil on your bench, discard it, and then go right back into your Mega Scizor EX. Reveroom also can do 60 damage, which might be a decent answer for Oricorio, especially if you have Training Area up, because that boosts Reveroom and Mega Scizor EX. Other cards these two Pokemon would get massive value from would be things like Steel Apron and definitely Metal Core, maybe even the Crown Rare one. Alright, next up is Mega Charizard X EX. We already got this guy in the set trailer, but let's go over it again since we did get a new addition to this lineup. It's a Stage 2 with a solid 220 HP being a Fire type, and its move only requires 3 energy, making it one of the faster Charizards to get online. Its move Raging Blaze deals 100 plus damage, and says if this Pokemon's remaining HP is 110 or less, this attack does 80 more damage, which makes it a solid Revengemon. On top of that, we also got a brand new Charmeleon, which has the exact same ability as the old Charmeleon, Ignition, where it ramps your active Fire type with a Fire energy if you choose to. However, its move is now 1 less energy and deals 10 less damage, so you can attack for 2 energy, hit slash 40 damage, or you can use the other Ignition Charmeleon from the previous set for 50 damage and 3 energy. Personally, I think this one might be a bit better. It's faster, and both have the same retreat cost as well as HP. So this one just looks better on paper. Next, let's talk about this abomination, Mega Slowbro EX. I say abomination because it's crazy strong. Sitting at 200 HP and a Stage 1, this Pokemon has the move Laundry Go Round. What a name. For 2 water energy and 1 colorless, you deal 90 damage, potentially 100 with Training Area, and then you flip 3 coins. Now, this attack does 20 damage for each heads to each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So if you flip 1 heads, every Pokemon on your opponent's bench will take 20 damage. If you flip 2 heads, they're all taking 40 damage. And if you flip 3 heads, all their benched Pokemon take 60 damage, while your opponent's active Pokemon is taking that 90 damage, potentially 100 damage if you have that Training Area, which makes this the scariest new Pokemon in terms of value and damage on the board. And on top of that, it's only 3 energy, 2 of them being water. So you might be inclined to use things like the new Fione here to help ramp it, which has a 70 HP and the move Aqua Turbo for 1 energy and it deals 10 damage. You can take a water energy from your energy zone and attach it to one of your bench water Pokemon. However, if I'm being honest, I think the optimal way would probably be running something like your Manaphy and Mantike with Lycia, help draw those cards out of the deck and help you guarantee that you're better likely to find a Slowpoke with your Pokeball and then ramp your Mega Slowbro that way. Next up is Mega Manectric EX, and this one is also scary. We got so many Stage 1s now that I'm noticing. With an HP of 180, this Lightning type has an aggressively scaling move, Lightning Accelerator, which deals 80 plus for only 2 lightning energy. This move says that this attack does 30 more damage for each point you have gotten, making this both a great early game but also potentially a late game mon, as long as you're using other Pokemon like non-EXs to help you claim early points. The max it could do is 140 for only 2 energy, and the icing on this Pokemon is that it has 0 retreat cost, so you could just retreat into another Mega Manectric EX or any other Pokemon. Yeah, I definitely think this one is going to be a huge meta contender. Which brings me to my final Mega Pokemon that we're going to talk about, but not the final card, Mega Gengar EX, the new Dark type that we saw in the trailer and this whole set revolves around, and the card that I'm still trying to chase, the shiny variant, hopefully today. The HP is 210 and it's a stage 2, and it has the move Labyrinth of Shadows, 120 damage for 4 energy. That is so much energy, you guys. And it says during your opponent's next turn, they can't play any trainer cards from their hand. Now, a lot of us were hoping that there was some sort of ramp variation of Haunter, but alas, there is not. But also, that's probably for the best, because let's be honest, a card like this that says your opponent can't play the game would inevitably make it so no one would want to play the game. Kind of a double-edged sword here. However, that's not going to stop us from making Mega Gengar great. So your best bet is probably pairing it with the brand new Morpeko, getting 2 Darkness energy on this 70 HP Darkness Pokemon and using its move Energizer Wheel, which deals 50 damage, and then you move 2 Darkness energy from this Pokemon to one of your benched Pokemon. Essentially, it's a variation of Swanna, but it's a basic Pokemon. An ideal game would be you starting with Morpeko going second, ramping this by turn 2, and then sending 2 of your energy to your benched Ghastly, Haunter, or even your Mega Gengar at that point if you had a lucky rare candy. All in all, still keeping this Mega very viable and somewhat playable. Now let's talk about some of the other cards, starting with the new supporter card Kalem, which we also already saw, since we just finished talking about every single brand new Mega, and since we're getting 5 new Megas, it just made sense. This card says you draw a card for each Mega Evolution Pokemon EX in play. I personally think this would be a lot better if you're using things like basic Mega Evolutions or even Stage 1s. However, I'm only looking at it from the lens of using it early game. If you wait to use this late game, it could be even more valuable in helping you confirm that you're going to get the cards, your last 2 or last 3 cards in your deck to help you win the game. And because of that, I've since changed my position on this card, and I do think it's somewhat of a valuable card that might find itself in a ton of different decks. Now let's have some real fun with the new Dragonair. This thing, oh my god, Sky's Blessing. We saw this in the trailer. Take a water and lightning energy from your energy zone and attach them to this Pokemon. That makes Dragonite so much better, and we got a new Dragonite, which takes massive value from that Dragonair with the move Dragon Wave, dealing 150 damage for only 3 energies. The 2 energies that we just ramped, it also discards a water and lightning energy from this Pokemon. Now you could run something like a Memory Light to then discard one turn, ramp the next turn, discard the following turn, or you can use that Dragonair to go into something like Dragonite EX. Pair it up with the big air balloon and just run the good old fossil tech to guarantee it could come right back in and deal back-to-back damage. Next up is the new Rapidash, which for 1 energy hits for 30 damage with the move Overdrive Smash. However, just like Togekiss and Klinklang, the more you use this move, the double the damage you'll deal. Because it says during the next turn, this Pokemon's Overdrive Smash deals an extra 30 damage, so 60 damage for only 1 energy. And if you pair this up with Blaine, well, now you're dealing 90 damage for 1 energy. I don't know, Aggro Blaine might have a spot on my decks to try this season, that's for sure. Speaking of decks to try, the next one is a combo of 2 Pokemon with 2 very different typings, being Magmortar, the fire type sitting at 130 HP, and Electivire, which is also sitting at 130 HP. Let's start with Magmortar though. For 1 fire energy and 2 colorless energy, it has the move Thundering Volcano, which deals 70 damage. And that says if Electivire is on your bench, this attack does 20 damage to each of your opponent's benched Pokemon, which is such a cool way to interact with 2 different, very different cards that have some like anime and in-game lore together. And then Electivire, for only 1 lightning energy and 1 colorless energy, has the move Incendiary Thunder, which deals 50 plus damage. And it says if Magmortar is on your bench, Well, this attack does 70 more damage, so you're hitting for 120. And if you have a training area, because these are all stage 1s, you guys, not stage 2s, well, this is actually hitting for 130. And another really cool aspect of Electivire Magmortar is that you can use Volkner on this Electivire. Speaking of cards I want to check out, we have the new Mew, which also has an immersive. It's the immersive of this set. It's an adorable card. I love the art in this. It is so fantastic. But on top of that, this move this Pokemon has is absolute cheese. Sitting at only 50 HP, a gust of wind could take this Pokemon out. However, this Pokemon is more than meets the eye, because for a Psychic and Colorless Energy, it has the move Miraculous Memory. One attack from among the Pokemon in your opponent's hand and deck is chosen at random, and you use that chosen attack as this card. Yes, your opponent could have something like that Mega Genjar's Labyrinth attack in their hand or their deck, and this Mew can just use it off rip. It'll always be random, which means this will never be a consistency Pokemon. However, it will be the most fun way to leave everything up to RNG. Next up is Haxorus, stage 2 dragon type with the HP of 150 and the move Frenzied Blade, which deals 50 plus damage. However, you need 1 fighting, 1 metal, and then 1 colorless. This attack does 20 more damage for each benched Pokemon. When I first saw this card, I thought it was more similar to Suicune. However, this has a baseline of 50 damage, and it's only 20 more damage for each benched Pokemon. It doesn't include every Pokemon on the board. Now, it's fighting and metal energy, which kind of holds it back. However, I have some spicy cooks planned for this Pokemon that I kind of want to gatekeep for now. So subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out when this Haxorus video comes out, and you could be one of the first people to see how good this card can really be, especially with the new supporter card Iris, which says during this turn, if your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack used by your Haxorus, you get 1 extra point, you guys. So what that actually means is you can just win the entire game by knocking out 1 EX Pokemon with this combo, or 2 non-EX cards. You get 1 point from the first one, and then you use Iris on the second one. Imagine winning the game by beating 2 Pichus up. Now, if that's not bullying, I don't know what is. Now let's talk about Nasty Notice, a card that I am very excited to use, especially in a meta where opponents like to hold as many cards in their hand as possible. This card says your opponent discards cards from their hand until they have 4 cards in their hand, meaning Suicune, Entei, and all those other decks that want to hold their valuable cards and get up to an 8-card hand limit. Not anymore. Nasty Notice is putting you guys in check, but also it has some unique synergy with other cards like this new Grumpig that we just received, sitting at 110 HP. And the move Swaying Dance deals 40 damage for only 1 psychic energy. However, if your opponent has exactly 2, 4, or 6 cards in their hand, this attack does 40 more damage. So comboing it with something like the new Nasty Notice is a guaranteed way for your Grumpig to hit for 80 damage and only 1 energy. Next up is the new Stadium card that I think is absolutely stunning. It's what I hoped my Mesagosa would be. It says at the end of each player's turn, that player draws cards until they have 3 cards in their hand. So if you're running an anti-draw strategy like Suicune, you're probably using as many cards as you possibly can within your first couple turns. Well, Hiking Trail here gives you that much more value, because by turn 2, turn 3, you can dig into more than half of your deck. And then pair this up with the new item card Maintenance, which shuffles 2 cards from your hand into your deck and then draws you a card. You can almost always guarantee that your Hiking Trail is going to proc off for you at the end of your turn. Definitely a spicy combo that I want to see in a lot of these decks during this season. But now let's talk about the final card that I really want to share with you guys, and it's the brand new Darkrai. I don't know what they were thinking with this Pokemon, but man, this is absolutely a terrifying treat. With the ability Bad Dreams, at the end of each turn, if your opponent's active Pokemon is asleep, you do 20 damage to that Pokemon. And yeah, this stacks. Also, its move Dark Slumber for 3 colorless energy deals 40 damage, and also puts the opponent to sleep. It's a basic Pokemon and has a solid 100 HP. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, is sleep back? And to be quite honest with you, I think it is. So much so that I already played a variation of a deck using this Darkrai and things like Igglypuff, Jigglypuff, and Wigglytuff, and I've already uploaded it here on the channel, so check out this video right here if you want to catch that next. But with that, guys, here's been my review of the new Mega Shine set and all the cards that I'm very excited to try out. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, hype, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.